you just got to be stubborn and not give up.
Oh yeah.
You can, if you can be stubborn and not give up, like if you can show up and not give up for long enough, you'll do fine. You'll figure it out. Like you're going to have good years. You're going to have bad years. You just can't give up, And like, I feel like we always have that, like, even in moments when it sucks, it's like, whatever, we're going to figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
This plan didn't work, but the next one, Pinky. The next one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like you do go through those waves in business, like things, like sometimes everything just works, like it just clicks. And then for, periods of time you go through things, it's like, man, this is really difficult. But I think it's still better than like working some crappy job that you don't want to work. Mm-hmm. Like I'd rather struggle. I'd rather like just have like, I don't know, there's like some months where you're just like, God, man, nothing is going right. And then all of a sudden there's like light at the end of the tunnel. You're like, oh, this is awesome. But that's way better than just like soullessly driving to your job every day like I used to, where you just like listen to sports radio and everything sucks. And you're just like, oh, I hate this. I wish I wasn't doing this. Like I'd rather it be a mix of stressful and fun instead,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it goes back to like we were talking about earlier, I was mentioning about like how I think about a lot about like how I'm showing up with the kids and like that kind of stuff. It's a hell of a lot easier to show up for the kids when you're the boss. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier when it's a snow day and I can go down and have lunch with them or, take a break in the middle of the day to play a game, versus being at work. So you got that going too. Even if you're listening and you're not a parent, like that stuff matters eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wild ride. It's fun though.
Yeah. Then you got to learn about taxes and
you just push it off. I think you could just be stubborn about taxes and just not pay them until something bad happens to you. Don't do that. That's not true. No, that is another thing. Yeah. And that's that one, man, well, I don't know if we should do a tax episode. I don't know if we're qualified to do that, but I mean, we could certainly talk at some point about like the learning lessons that you go through with the tax stuff, because it is something that it's like you spend all this time like learning how to run your business, learning how to create the content, learning how to do all this stuff. And then you're like, crap, I have to learn how to do like this administrative stuff too. But you just kind of figure it out. Like every business owner I know, like they're administrative wizards if they've been doing it long enough. And they're also just like a master at their craft and they know sales. Like you just get this really, really broad depth of knowledge across a lot of different areas in business, which is, I think why it's business so much fun.
Business will force you to like learn certain things at certain times.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of pushes you into these areas. But yeah, man, one of my favorite conversations to have is like when I'm talking to a new client that's usually some sort of coach, and they're like, oh, I'm really good at what I do and I've got a great business, but I just am not a numbers person. I don't want to be in the numbers. And I'm like, well, I hope you like where you're at today, because you will never go a step further if you don't learn to love the numbers and measure your analytics, because if you don't know your numbers, you're not growing. Like it's just, you wonder why you're here talking to me. Like it's, they don't want to hear that, but that's all it is. Like, I'm just showing you how to look at the numbers and figure out which levers to pull.
Right.
So it just kind of forces you to learn stuff. So, okay. So have a vision if you can, take action if you don't.
So maybe have a vision,
it out
maybe
as you go.
Don't. Yeah.
Like that's the big plan here.
Yeah.